All right, good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, whatever time you're tuning into this video, just make sure that it is good. My name is Game Boy Rob, and today is the final day for climbing, for getting a good LP before the cutoff for the seasonal tournament. Ooh, in fact, by the time this video goes live, the cutoff will probably have happened or be like very close to happening, right? So let me know down in the comments, did you qualify for seasonals? Are you planning to, qualify for seasonals? Did you qualify via the actual ranking LP? Did you get into the top 700 of Masters, or did you qualify in the gauntlet? I'm curious, I'd like to know. But, because the seasonal tournament is coming up, and obviously I'm planning on participating in this tournament, I am currently rank 75 on the leaderboard, which obviously is going to qualify me. You only have to be in top 700 in order to qualify to attend the tournament. But you get a little bonus if you go to the tournament. You have, I don't remember exactly how the math works out, but you're going to make it into top cut if you manage to get 7 wins and 2 losses, but only some of the people who get 7 wins and 2 losses will be making the cut, and the tiebreakers are going to be whoever are higher ranked, among other things, I think. So I am going to be pushing tonight. I'm going to be trying to get as highly ranked as possible before the cutoff, which I think is at midnight Pacific Standard Time, about 4 hours from the time I'm recording this. So hopefully by then I will be a little bit higher. I would like to be at least rank 50, but preferably closer to like rank 40. So wish me luck. I'm going to be doing my best there, but that's really neither here nor there. That's not really what we're talking about today. What we're talking about today is the final of the 3 decks that I am bringing to the seasonal, and a deck that I am highly anticipating seeing in the seasonal constantly. And that deck is, of course, Trundle, Lissandra, Watcher Control, as it's commonly referred to. So if in case you're new, in case you've been living under a rock, in case you've just come back into the game and you're not planning on playing the seasonals and you've maybe planning on watching the seasonals, let me give you a bit of rundown on what the heck this deck is all about. This is a hyper control style deck. We are running 3 copies of Avalanche. We are running 3 copies of Blighted Ravine. We are running 3 copies of Ice Shard. We are running 2 copies of Withering Wail, 1 Box, 1 Ruination, the works. We do not want to die. We do not want to die to a spread out board. That is what we do not want. But that is all just really control stuff. That's pretty standard control. The heart and soul of this deck is cheating. The heart and soul of this deck is cheating, specifically in a way, cheating out this guy right here, cheating out the Watcher. The Watcher, in case you're unfamiliar, is a card that Lissandra generates. When she levels up, Lissandra creates 1 Watcher in your hand. Watcher is a card that cannot ever be it can never be played normally, right? Because it costs 17 unit mana and you can only ever get 10, but it costs 0 if you have summoned 4+ allies that cost 8 or more this game. And then when the Watcher attacks, it obliterates the enemy deck, and then the enemy loses on their next, the next time they would draw a card, they instantly lose, right? Pretty game ending. If you can get this thing out and attack with it, the game usually ends. Now there are some decks that are pretty good at actually answering this thing once it's summoned, once it comes out, but those are pretty few and far between, and they all happen to be in Targon. So for the most part, we're not going to be worrying about that. But yeah, the whole point of this deck is to get out the Watcher and attack with it once, and bada bing, bada boom, you win. And everything else is just dedicated to surviving until then. So how do we do this? How do we cheat? How do we get the thing out? How do we summon 8 or 4 8+ cost units and get that thing out? Well, I'm glad you asked, dear viewer. We have 4 main cards that contribute to cheating out our big void friend. Fading Memories, Lissandra, Trundle, and his Ice Pillar specifically, and Spectral Matron are our four combo cheater cards. Generally, the way it works is we'll play Trundle, preferably on round 5, but somewhere between round 5 and round 8. On round 8, we will drop the Ice Pillar, which is an 8 mana unit that sort of also costs 0, but you know, for Lissandra's, as far as Lissandra cares, it is a unit that costs 8 or more. We play Ice Pillar. We copy Ice Pillar with Fading Memories to get the second Ice Pillar, which will level up Lissandra. And then we play Spectral Matron from our hand, targeting the Watcher, getting out a free, you know, ephemeral copy of the Watcher that we can attack with. And then if that ephemeral copy dies, we also have a 0 mana Watcher in our hand to be played. And bada bing, bada boom. Most decks cannot deal with that. Most decks have no way of stopping 2 Watchers in a single turn from killing them, right? Almost, very few decks can ever answer that. But we aren't always able to get that off we aren't always able to get that to go off consistently, right? And so the rest of the deck is dedicated to helping us draw the key cards. Babbling Burg helps us draw Spectral Matron, right? Because Spectral Matron is the only unit in our deck that costs 5 or more. And then we've got 3 copies of Entreat to help us find our champions, and then we've got a little bit more card draw in Glimpse Beyond and Avaros and Sentry, and then everything else is like flex, right? We've got a couple 3 sisters to help us do whatever it is we need to do. If we need a flash freeze, there it is. If we need to like buff up a Trundle because he's dying, there it is. If we need to, you know, if we're going up against the mirror and we need to stop our opponent's Watcher from killing us, we can entomb it. And then we've got a couple Vile Feasts, and yeah, that's basically the deck right there. It's just full control and try to cheat out a Watcher to win. Now, a lot of people are saying that this deck should be, a lot of people have been saying for a while that this deck should maybe be nerfed, that maybe the Spectral Matron should be changed or the Watcher should be changed so that this specific combo doesn't work. And if this deck remains as prevalent as I think it's going to in the, you know, after the new Shurima cards come out in a few weeks, then I might agree. But for now, it is shaping up the meta in a way that I honestly don't hate. I was planning to get this video out a little bit earlier than I have, but c'est la vie. And then I was also planning to do more videos before the seasonal tournament came out about the other meta decks. But once you get past these two, once you get past Nasus Thresh and Trundle Lissandra, they're kind of the rest of the meta is whatever you want it to be. You can sort of play any deck beyond that, and it can sort of be meta. You can play Nightfall, you can play Discard, you can play Pirates, you can play decks that aren't aggro decks, you can play, you know, Dragons, you can play Jarvan, you can play, you know, Marauders, but you don't have to. You could play, there's a million decks. There's a Sejuani Overwhelmed deck, right? There's Lucian Scouts, there's Misfortune Scouts, there's like, not hundreds, but there's tons of decks that are currently going on in the meta right now. So I'm not really able to make a video on all of them. So I figured I'd actually just stop with these two. And beyond that, like, you can kind of play anything. And then the meta is actually super diverse currently. So these are the big two, and this is my third deck that I'm bringing to the seasonal is the boys. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into some games. I'm probably only going to do a couple games because these Watcher games take forever. But yeah, we'll see if we can get anything. We'll see if we can get anything interesting here, and maybe I can showcase exactly how to play this deck and talk about it a little bit. So without further ado, let us begin. Let us get started. Okay, so game one. Fair enough. Our game one is going to be up against Thresh Nasus. Now, this is a deck that we have a slight advantage over. This is definitely a deck that we are favored against. We will usually win this matchup, but we won't always win this matchup, right? This deck definitely has the tools to come out of nowhere and sometimes get us, but for the most part, we do definitely have an advantage. Now mulliganing in this deck is sort of the big skill, right? Going up against a semi aggro deck like Nasus Thresh, we are going to want to find our avalanches. I don't think I'm gonna keep my Glimpse Beyond. And Vile Feast, you could consider keeping Vile Feast and you could consider not. I think I'm gonna mull it. Actually, I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna keep Vile Feast. We have an Avalanche, we have an Avaros and Sentry now, which is great. And we keep our Lissandra. Lissandra is one of our key pieces that we can play in the early game, but not always should. All right, so our opponent starts with a Cursed Keeper. That is fine. Let's see if he goes for a Butcher as well. I don't even care if he does or doesn't. I don't care whether they do or don't. I'm playing my sentry. Okay, my opponent doesn't even attack. He doesn't even attack. I guess my opponent does not want to make the trade, which is interesting. That's good to keep in mind. Now, knowing whether or not to play Lissandra on round 3 is very interesting. I think in this case, I'm not going to. If Lissandra dies before she levels up, this deck has a very difficult time winning the game. Lissandra going down before leveling up means it is very, very difficult to get a Watcher into your hand. And without a Watcher, we're sort of down a win con, right? We're sort of out of win conditions.
Everyone's a garden.
So we wanna keep a hold of that. We wanna keep a hold of our Lissandra. We want to keep her alive for as long as possible. So playing her in the early game is always risky. Is always a risky proposition. Pretty sure this is an easy avalanche. We take down all the little guys. We do pop the other Curse Keeper,
Light the signal fire.
which is not ideal, but because of these Vile Feasts, we won't be taking too much damage here, and we should end up being okay. Bonk. We take 4. Hardly the end of the world. 4 damage. Hardly the end of the world, right? Okay, our opponent actually does block here. I figured they might not. I figured they might decline to block there because I do run the card Blighted Ravine, and they're aware of that. Well, if he doesn't want to play into it. Here, we're just gonna untreat. Find our Trundle, and now we have the full combo. We have the entire combo in our hand right now, by the way. Trundle makes an Ice Pillar. Fading Memories is 2 Ice Pillars, which levels up Lissandra, gets a Watcher into our hand, and then Spectral Matron on the Watcher is the whole. That's the entire thing. That's the combo, right? So, in addition to that, we're attacking on odds this game, or yeah, we're attacking on odds this game, which means we won't be attacking on 8. We'll be trying to win this game on round 9. We'll be trying to win this game on round 9. Okay, cool. Our opponent does nicely play into our Blighted Ravine here. I will take that. No reason to get any greedier.
We enter an age of
And that is perfect. That is exactly what I wanted to see. A Nasus that is actually smaller than my Trundle. That is mwah, mwah, beautiful. That is perfect. Ideal. Just what you want to see. A Nasus that is smaller than your Trundle. Hell yes.
I'll knock 'em dead.
Oh, okay. I guess that's it. I guess our opponent just knew that wasn't going to go well.
You should be honored.
You should be honored. All right, so we're gonna go up against Thresh Nasus here. Thresh Nasus. This is usually a matchup that we are favored for. This is usually a matchup that is favored for the TLC player, the Trundle Lissandra player. And in the mulligan, we have to be very careful. We want to discard the cards we don't need, and Withering Wail's good in this matchup, but it's more of a late game card. Speaking of late game card, I think, we only have 3 Fading Memories, and it's really important in the mirror, at the end of the game, but we also need to survive until then, right? So I'm gonna mull these 3 away. I just mulled away all of my combo pieces. But there's a Fading Memories back again already, so I think probably that's okay. I think generally it's probably okay to mull away your combo pieces, because you don't need them until the end of the game, right? You just don't need them at all until the end of the game. This Vile Feast is coming in pretty handy here. Completely shutting down our opponent's attack. Very nice. Yes, I will trade. Yes, I will trade. That is fine. Now we should be trying to keep more or less keep count of how many stacks our opponent has, how big our opponent's Nasus is. Right now our opponent has 1 Slay, and so Nasus is a 3/3. And see,
Everyone's a god.
now Nasus is a 4/4. We can pass here.
Come this way.
That is a beautiful ice shard. Wow, that is a gorgeous ice shard. Get him out of there. Get him out of there. And this should be a perfectly fine time to drop Trundle.
Ice to meet you.
We are going to be needing a Lissandra. We do need a Lissandra before too long here.
Desert by my side.
They forgot.
Uh-huh.
You cannot.
But you cannot. Sure. So our opponent's Nasus is already 5/5, and that's when it's starting to get a little bit troublesome, right? Because 5/5 kills Trundle,
I'll knock 'em dead.
and that's not ideal.
Our sun rises.
I did just play into a Black Spear. There it is. That's fine.
But I'm king.
But I'm king. Blah, blah, blah.
There you are.
No surprises there. This is why we run box, by the way. I'm running 1 copy of the box in this deck specifically to deal with Thresh Nasus, to help our matchup against Thresh Nasus.
Nothing escapes my watch.
It's mostly just to deal with these caretakers. Because box will also kill things that come out of the Escaped Abomination, right? Box also hits the Escaped Abomination that comes out of the Cursed Keeper, the 4/3, right? And so I like keeping a hold of it for that reason. So our opponent's Nasus, I think, is currently 6/6. If I attack, it'll become 7/7. But I don't really have a better option, so I'll offer that trade. I'll offer that trade.
Light the signal fires.
Find a Withering Wail.
We stand in the footprints.
8/8. Oh, okay. I missed one. I missed one somewhere along the line. It's actually an 8/8. And that's a bit problematic. As you can imagine, that is less than ideal for me. We have nothing to do about it, though. There is nothing we can do about it, though. Ugh. Oh, this hand is not ideal. This hand is less than ideal.
Judgment awaits.
We can take 8. We don't want to take 8, obviously, but we can, and so we will. We can afford it. We can afford it.
Oh, yes.
She does love visitors. We're just gonna get out the extra ice pillar, at least 1 extra ice pillar now. We could do another one if we really wanted to, but I don't think it's necessary. In fact, I want that. In fact, I need card draw, like, badly here. So I'm actually going to copy that and sacrifice this ice pillar, which is ephemeral, right? So that I can draw cards. I am badly, there we go. I am in dire need of my combo pieces, and there is one of them. There is a rather important one right there. I kind of want to glimpse this. I kind of want to glimpse this first, though. Glimpsing this Spirit Leech also feels pretty good. Okay, our opponent said no. I'm going to say no back, mostly to stop Nasus from getting to 10-10 here. Really would not like Nasus to be at 10 attack, if at all possible. If at all possible, preventing Nasus from being at 10-10 is a good thing. So I'm just going to Vile Feast my own unit. Prevent that Slay. And then we are going to get Lissandra down.
Ages pass, but I am eternal.
Now that she's leveled up, she no longer dies to Black Spear, which is a good thing.
All things grow cold.
All things grow cold. And we have triple Blighted Ravine in our hand currently.
You will do as I command.
So the only thing we need now, the only piece of our combo that we need is a Spectral Matron. One Spectral Matron wins us the game, if we can find it here. So to that end, I'm still gonna probably want that as a blocker, honestly. We'll start with the Ice Shard. We're gonna start with the free Ice Shard.
Feel the power of true ice.
Kill that Spirit Leech, see what our opponent wants to do.
See what we see.
Our opponent wants to play a Dune Keeper. I'm gonna play Blighted Ravine. And then I might also play... Okay. I might also play the Sentry here. Yeah, our opponent goes to 10. Alright, Nasus is at 10 attack. Not what we want. Not what we want. No, I think I'd rather save this guy. I'd rather save this guy as a...
We weren't expecting callers.
some sort of blocker, right? I'd rather save him to be some sort of blocker. Now, something interesting we could do is we could Withering Wail just to kill this, just to pop this, so that next round this Blighted Ravine will hit the 4-3, and then which will then become a 4-1, and then the Escaped Abomination would then die to our free Ice Shard. That's something to think about. That's something to consider.
The ice is
Alternatively, we
melting.
could just play our second. We could also just play our second Blighted Ravine to do something similar, right? I think I like that better. I think I want to play the second Blighted Ravine. Do I though? No, I don't want to do that. It's worth considering. It's certainly worth considering, but I don't actually want to do that.
Embrace the cold.
Okay. We find an extra Lissandra, which becomes an Entomb. Or doesn't become an Entomb. Sure. Sure, you can do that. That is fine, my friend. That is absolutely fine, my friend.
The Watchers.
So we're probably just gonna end up flash freezing this Nasus, probably no matter what happens here. Because we can't let him get Spell Shield. If this Nasus ever gets Spell Shield, we are in on that day we are in trouble. Although that being said, with another Lissandra here, we might be fine. I'm actually just gonna replay Lissandra.
A dark cloud looms on the horizon.
I'm just gonna replay Lissandra, get our Nexus back to being tough. Our opponent plays a Thresh.
If they're out there, I'll spot them. They will bend from death.
Mm-hmm.
Like our world on a hawk.
So this is really interesting. We actually could bait our opponent into atrocitying us. Very interesting. Very interesting. We're at 1 health. If we let this happen, we go to 1. We go to 1 health. I don't think we do that. I don't think we ever go to 1 health when we could prevent it. So we're gonna flash freeze Nasus. We are gonna play this. All it really does is kill our Avaros and Sentry, which isn't necessarily a good thing, but we do want to play it just to wear down our opponent's board as well. And then we may as well Avalanche as well. Again, we're sort of just playing the waiting game. We're sort of just waiting twiddling our thumbs, playing nice and slow until we eventually draw a Spectral Matron and win the game. That's essentially how this is going right now. Eventually we'll draw it, eventually we'll find it, we'll get out our Spectral Matron, and then we'll get out our free Watcher. We'll cheat out our Watcher, and then the game will be over. We kind of just gotta, until then we just have to survive. Ooh, and that is a helpful means of surviving. I'm gonna throw out my Ice Shard just to see what my opponent wants to do.
Feel the power of true ice.
If my opponent does nothing, I will pass back. Our opponent goes for a Rite of Calling. Okay. That's fine. I can pass here. We will, if our opponent attacks next round, like does nothing. Okay, that's an issue. That is a problem. Another Thresh is a problem here. Is definitely a problem here. I think we actually have to glimpse Lissandra. I think we literally have to glimpse Lissandra here. Again, if we find Spectral Matron, the game just ends immediately in our favor. We just win the game. Well, actually, that's not true. We actually do find it. Oh, I said that, but it was actually incorrect. Because Nasus is at exactly 12, if we play this Spectral Matron here, we actually do lose the game. As a matter of fact, if we play this Spectral Matron, we actually do just lose the game. If our opponent has an Atrocity in their hand, right? If our opponent happens to have the Atrocity, then that's it for us. But we do have it. We do have a potential lethal, right? But if I play it, I'll go down to 1 mana and my opponent will just Atrocity me. So I can't do that. I can't do that. So instead we're gonna play so instead of that, instead of my plan, we're gonna do double Blighted Ravine. And use this Ice Shard to finish off Nasus next round. That's our new plan. That's our new plan. Bit of a risky one. This is a bit of a risky one, but it's kind of the only play we have, right? Because if I go Spectral Matron onto Watcher, that could win, right? In theory, that should just win me the game. But this deck runs Atrocity, and I have to respect it. I have to respect a potential Atrocity at any time, right? Wow. That's funny. Sure, sure.
The expanse of eternity stretched out before me.
You got us. I think that's actually game. If my opponent has the Atrocity, he's actually gotten us. Unless we can top deck a Flash Freeze or a Three Sisters, then that's gonna be it. Untreat does not do it. Well. Yep. Damn. Our opponent got us. That was actually a really good game. We were super close, and it's possible our opponent just didn't have Atrocity, right? So perhaps we should have made that play. Very close. That was very, very close. I think we can leave that one in. I think we can leave that one in the video because it was a good game, and it shows very well how to play against Lissandra Trundle, right? My opponent made a pretty cool play, bonking his own Thresh. I would not have. Well, I might have done that. I might have considered doing that if I was in his position, but it was a weird one for sure. But yeah, that was a cool game. That's a good Nasus Thresh game. Hopefully I can find a mirror match for us as well. So let's continue. We'll do at least one more. All right. Well, we don't find the mirror match. We don't find the mirror match that we were looking for, but we do find a bit of an off meta deck. A bit of an off meta deck, I would say. I don't want to keep Withering Wail or Three Sisters here. I do want to go looking for stuff like Avalanche. Oh, I really do want to go looking for stuff like Avalanche. This is a Noxus deck. I honestly was thinking about keeping Ruination because I thought maybe this would be like a mid-range deck, but it's looking. The more I think about this, the more I think about what these three champs do, the less it says mid-range and the more it says aggro to me, right? So we're gonna respect it. We're gonna treat it like, hey, and there it is. We're gonna treat it like an aggro deck, and that is certainly indicative of an aggro deck. I probably shouldn't have even kept Entreat. Honestly, I probably should have mulled away Entreat. So right now we're just gonna bluff Avalanche. We're gonna sit, we're gonna bluff, we're gonna say I have Avalanche. I don't actually have Avalanche, so not ideal.
Got something
Okay.
for 'em?
We take 6. We have likely already lost. I think I needed to mull hard for Avalanche here. On second thought, perhaps I needed to mulligan a little bit harder for the card Avalanche. That might have been wise. That might have been a good idea.
These are troll lands.
We're still not finding it. We're still not seeing it. This Vile Feast is good. This Vile Feast is helpful. As is this Withering Wail. But neither of them are what we want. Uh-huh. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Do 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 do. What am I doing? Pretty sure we Vile Feast this. We get out all the blockers we need. And then we prepare for the whale. We prepare to whale. Ouch. Ouch, ouch. That hurt. That did hurt. That did not feel good. We do have a whale. We have a nice whale. Ooh, and then a nice Blighted Ravine as well.
They're coming! Hide! Bar the doors!
I am afraid of Noxian Fervor here. Okay. They don't seem to have it.
Duty, Empire.
Okay. Decimate number 2. Ruinous Ruinous Path. Okay, alright, that's fine. What is that? Double Ruinous Path, sure. Absolutely, why not? Why not just hit me with that double Ruinous Path? Absolutely. Okay, so we're gonna need to drop the Blighted Ravine here, like first thing, right? Because our opponent is clearly running Decimates, and we need to be fully prepared for that.
I'll knock 'em dead.
We're gonna attack here. Our opponent blocks, not that it matters. And then we'll play on Treat just to spend our mana, get a hopefully Lissandra there. There she is. We're gonna end that round. We could consider playing Lissandra there, and maybe like go for like a tough Nexus, but I don't think that's the play. We're probably what we're probably gonna end up doing here is slapping down another Blighted Ravine. Blighted Ravines heal us. They heal us and then they damage us, right? Which means that they heal us for a total net of 2.
You won't get past
Maybe
me.
I should have played Lissandra last round. It is possible. It is possible that's what I should have done.
You're in troll lands now.
We can only hope that it
Hail to the
kind of won't
king.
matter. Yeah, I guess we actually should have played Lissandra last round.
See what we see, soldier.
Would have been slightly better. Right, because if we go Spectral Matron into Lissandra, our Nexus is tough. We get a tough Nexus forever. I don't think we need to do that. Oh, how important is having a tough Nexus right now? I'm afraid. What am I afraid of? I'm afraid of Decimate.
Come on!
I'm afraid of Decimate plus Noxian Fervor. That's what I'm afraid of here.
Can't handle a little cold?
And getting a Tough Nexus doesn't change that. Getting a Tough Nexus would not save us from Decimate plus Noxian Fervor. So there's no point in getting out Lissandra here until we need her, right? Until she's necessary.
What you want, without mercy.
Without mercy. That is a pretty good Rune Runner. So I think what we're going to have to do here, we're going to play Spectral Matron targeting Lissandra, giving us a Tough Nexus, and giving us lots of blockers for the 6/4. I think that's the play. It will, this line of play will prevent us from playing Watcher.
Ages pass, but I am eternal. Succumb. Embrace the cold.
So no Watcher, there's no Watcher to be had here, but our Nexus is tough. And we have a blocker for everything, so I think we should be good to win here. I think that should be game.
Yeah.
Our opponent can drag whatever it is they want to drag. It doesn't really matter. That's fine. You can kill my extra Ice Pillar. Honestly, that's doing me a favor. Killing my extra Ice Pillar here only helps me. There's no world in which that's a problem for me. And there we go. Now we get to play our other Lissandra. Oh, or we could just watch her. Or we could just watch her it out for the game. I'm still afraid. See, this is the thing. I keep getting into scenarios like this. I keep trying to record a situation in which I can show off what this deck is supposed to do. You know, but I keep hitting the situation where if our opponent has, you know, like right now, if my opponent has Decimate plus Noxian Fervor or Decimate plus any damage source, like even Ruinous Path, right? I can't play Watcher. Even if I play Spectral Matron, I could die. So I'm just gonna play Lissandra again. We just need the Tough Nexus, right?
A dark cloud.
All we really need is a Tough Nexus, and that should be good enough for us to not die. We could also play the Blighted Ravine here to heal ourselves up a little bit more. That also wouldn't be a bad idea. Places to go, people to be. Yeah, LeBlanc. Whatever, LeBlanc. Whatever.
Bow to your king!
You're safe with me.
Look out there!
Look out there!
This is gonna be
Alright, we're just gonna attack with Trundle here. We do threaten lethal back on our opponent, right? So our opponent has to block. They have to spend their good cards here to not die. And actually, my opponent actually dies to Blighted Ravine here. So okay, we're getting an alternate lethal. We're getting an alternative lethal here. I could have gone 3 Sisters into what's that card called? Fury of the North. We could have gone for Fury of the North there if we'd really wanted to, which probably would have been lethal. That also would have been lethal, but I'm playing super duper uber safe. I'm playing as safe as one can possibly play. I'm gonna get down my Blighted Ravine, and then next round Lissandra's gonna create us a free Ice Shard, and that'll end the game. We're gonna get Lissandra Ice Shard lethal. That's the play.
You will do as I command.
That's the play. So no Watcher.
Danger pays.
No Watcher for us. But we find an alternate route to lethal, and that's pretty cool. That is what the deck, you know, that's a sign of a good deck, right? When you have multiple ways of winning the game, that's a good thing. So we win there. Pretty good, pretty good.
Rule the Freljord.
pretty good, and I think that's a good showcase of how the deck should run. We also could have won. Our opponent didn't have the Decimate that I was afraid of, so we could have also won with the Watcher there. And yeah, hopefully this was helpful. I was I was hoping we could get ourselves a mirror match and I could show you guys how to play the mirror, but I've already been recording for over an hour and I've played like several games that I'm not including in the video, and I can't quite find the matchups I want. So hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully you guys found that interesting. But yeah, I will be participating in the seasonal tournament this coming Saturday. Should be 2 days from when this video goes up. Maybe 1 day from when this video goes up, technically. This Saturday, April 24th, right? I'm gonna be in the seasonal tournament. Come hang out, come watch me on Twitch. I'm gonna leave a link to my Twitch in the description below. Come hang out. We have a great time over there. And yeah, with that out of the way, I think that's all I had to say today. I hope you guys enjoyed those games. I hope you learned a little bit about this deck and this matchup, and I will get the heck out of here. And yeah, you guys have a great day, and I'll see you guys in the next one.